Roll Tobit for Boxing News, joined by Eddie Hearn. We are in the immediate aftermath of Juan Francisco Estrada's loss to Bam Rodriguez. Eddie, great night tonight in Phoenix.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, what an atmosphere, what a fight. Just one of those fights you kind of watching, you're looking around ringside and people, I was looking at Barry Jones and he was just like, I can't. You know, it's just it's a fight fans fight. Would have done great numbers on DAZN. We saw in the arena, great crowd, but it was a real fight for the purist as well. You know, we've seen the response since we made the fight and it delivered, you know, full of action, thrills and spills, incredible drama and an unbelievable finish and performance from Jesse Rodriguez.
I think if there's one person that this fight is aimed at, it's Barry Jones. So a good one at looking over at him. Let's start at the top, work our way down. Bam Rodriguez, spectacular 7th round knockout win over Juan Francisco Estrada. Dominant for large parts of it, but did have to pick himself up off the canvas in the 6th round.
Yeah, that was a huge shock. I mean, I thought he dominated the fight. You know, Estrada was always competitive. He's very active in the rounds, but the heavier shots were clearly causing damage to Estrada, wobbled him in, was it the 3rd or 2nd round? And even though the judge gave that round to Estrada, the Mexican judge, and looked after the knockdown to be on his way to potentially stopping him, and then switched off, straight right hand down the middle, dropped him, and then the fight looked like it might turn, but Jesse composed himself. I would have loved to seen a fight go down the stretch because Estrada's very good down the stretch. You know, he closes fights very, very well. He's got an unbelievable engine, but the body shot was just a killer. You know, no getting up from that. You know, one of the fights of the year, one of the knockouts of the year as well. You know, at 24 years of age, Jesse continues to rise up the pound-for-pound list, and you know, I hope he gets the recognition he deserves.
Juan Francisco Estrada spoke in the immediate aftermath about the rematch clause. He said that he fully intends to invoke that. Obviously, Bam has his own aspirations of unifying the division against the Yoka Martinez winner. What do you think is most likely next? Is it a case of if Estrada invokes it, that's it?
Yeah, if we have to do the rematch, we'll do it. I mean, it's still a massive fight commercially. You know, the unification fights are always a priority, but it takes 2 to tango. You know, they've got to be willing to fight Bam. The numbers have got to make sense for them and for us, but Bam's kind of like hell-bent on unifying the division, becoming undisputed before he moves to 118. You know, it's a shame, actually, that he never won a world championship at light fly because he was there for a while. But he's already a 2-division world champion. I see him being a 4 or 5-division world champion, but I'd like to see him try and unify the division. But we'll wait to hear from Estrada if he wants number 2.
Obviously, past the Estrada rematch, Ioka's Japanese. There's also Kosei Tanaka, the WBO champion, is Japanese. Up at bantamweight, all 4 champions are Japanese. Bam, obviously co-promoted with Tekken, Mr. Honda. Have you got any aspirations of going over to Japan, maybe doing a Matchroom Japan show?
Yeah, I mean, we've got Prize Fighter coming up in a couple of weeks. Our first show over in Japan. But for sure, I mean, obviously the smaller weight classes are big business in Japan, and Bam is the top fighter outside of Inoue on the pound-for-pound list. So absolutely open to going to Japan. We're also building him well in America. I mean, I know Estrada had big support here, but so did Bam.
Great fight weeks here, they're brilliant.
And also, he's from San Antonio. He's not even from Phoenix. But they respect the lower weight classes. He's becoming a star here, and the atmosphere was incredible.
You mentioned there, Nairo, in a way, it's a name that's sort of floating around and attaching itself to Bam's recently. I kind of spoke in the post-fight press conference, where it was very kind of played it down almost. But is that a potential? Is that something that you'd like to kind of foresee for the future?
I think it's a bit of a fantasy fight. I mean, probably in the same way that you talk about Inoue versus Tank. You know, I think it's only a matter of time before Bam goes to 118 and 122. But I think their paths will probably miss each other, unless Inoue stays around that weight class, because Bam was already too big for flyweight. It won't be long till he's too big for super flyweight. It'll be up at bantam, but I think probably unlikely, even though I'd love to see it.
Elsewhere on the card, Sonny Edwards made his return. I thought boxed very, very well until the head clash caused an end to proceedings. Thought quite a harsh reaction from the crowd. They bay for blood.